Okay, so today we're going to deep dive into something pretty heavy.
Yeah,
It's a story we got from a woman who reached out to us, and she's dealing with just an incredibly difficult situation
definitely.
involving her husband and infidelity, and it's taken a really frightening turn, to be honest with you.
I think it's one of those stories that really kind of highlights the importance of being honest and
Yes.
open.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And facing the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So to kind of give everyone the background, this woman discovered her husband was having multiple affairs back in December of 2023.
Right.
So we're talking about a little over a year ago now.
Yeah.
And, understandably, she was completely devastated.
Oh, of course.
But I think what's so important is that she immediately took steps to protect herself.
Right.
She insisted that both she and her husband get tested for HIV,
Yeah.
and she insisted that they use protection during sex.
Absolutely. And I think, it really speaks to her strength in a moment of crisis that she was thinking clearly, and recognize the potential health risks and set those clear boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild because you would think, right,
Yeah.
that the fear of a life-altering disease would be enough to make someone change their behavior.
You would think so, right?
But sadly, that's often not the case.
Well, often not the case.
And, there's so many factors that play into it.
Right.
Denial, a sense of invincibility, even like a misguided belief that condoms somehow diminish intimacy.
It's true.
It's baffling to me.
It really is.
Oh.
And this is a pattern that we see a lot, actually, in these types of situations where infidelity is involved.
Yeah.
There's just this disconnect between
Right.
really understanding the risk
Yeah.
and being willing to take action to protect yourself and others.
And so their relationship entered a period of abstinence,
Right.
which is a pretty clear indicator that the trust was completely shattered.
Yeah, for sure.
But then he agreed to use protection with his mistresses,
Yeah.
but not with his wife.
I know. It's so disturbing, isn't it? That he was willing to protect these other people outside of the marriage, but not the person
Right.
that he vowed to, cherish and protect.
Exactly. And then the story takes another turn.
That is
One of his mistresses gets pregnant and miscarries.
right.
And sadly, she later tested positive for HIV.
Yeah.
And she urged him to get tested. But he completely ignored her.
I think, it shows the ripple effect,
Oh, absolutely.
of this kind of reckless behavior.
For sure.
That it's not just, contained to two people in a relationship.
Right.
It impacts, everyone involved.
Right.
And so his actions, or I guess his inaction in this case, put his wife at risk. And it seems like, another woman as well.
Tragically, yeah. And the wife is obviously terrified at this point and gets retested for HIV.
Right.
Is still negative, thankfully.
Right.
But it's at that point that she makes the incredibly difficult decision to stop having unprotected sex with her husband. She just couldn't trust him with her health,
Right.
her life.
It's the most responsible choice that she could make, given the circumstances.
Yes.
Absolutely.
She had to take control of her own well-being
Yeah.
and just refuse to be a passive participant
Right.
in this very dangerous situation. And then
Yeah.
if that wasn't enough,
Yeah.
she finds a text message that reveals that the woman who likely infected her husband had actually pleaded with him to use protection, which he refused.
Oh, it's awful.
It's another layer of betrayal
Yeah.
on top of everything else.
It wasn't just like a lapse in judgment. It
Yeah.
was a very conscious decision on his part to disregard someone else's health and well-being.
Yes, and it's a pattern
Yeah.
that's emerging.
Exactly.
That's concerning.
Right.
So now we're hearing that the husband is depressed, drinking heavily, crying, becoming incoherent.
Right.
It's a picture of a man facing the consequences
Yeah.
of his action.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't erase the pain that he's inflicted.
No, it doesn't.
And that brings us to, I think, the heart of the matter here. The woman wants to leave the marriage, but she's wrestling with what is the right thing to do.
Right.
How do you even begin to untangle something this complex?
It's so tough because she's facing such an incredibly difficult decision.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the betrayal, the risk to her own health, the emotional turmoil, and
Yeah.
then, potentially the impact on any children
Right.
that might be involved.
If there are any.
Right, exactly.
So there's no easy answer.
No.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Definitely not.
It makes you think about the limits of forgiveness.
It does.
The point at which self-preservation has to take priority.
Right.
I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think this situation just brings up so many questions about personal responsibility
Hmm.
and boundaries and relationships.
Yeah.
And, like we've said, there's no magic formula for navigating this kind of pain.
Right.
Ultimately, I think it comes down to her finding the strength to put her own well-being first.
Yes.
Whether that looks like, couples counseling
Right.
or legal separation or simply just walking away.
Yeah.
There are resources out there that can help her
Absolutely.
make informed choices. And I think it's so crucial that she seeks support during this time
Yes. It's so important.
because she's not alone.
Not at all.
Mm.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the middle of chaos, we have the right, even the responsibility to protect ourselves. So to our listener who shared this heartbreaking story,
Yeah.
and to anyone else out there facing similar struggles,
Mm-hmm.
remember your health, your safety, your emotional well-being.
Right.
These are non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Seek support, find your strength, and know that you are not alone.
You are not alone.
Yeah.